Hello, one and all. It's my view, Dr. Stone, chapter 190, Science Transcends Life. And, oh god, this chapter just really reminded me what it is I love most about the series, the foreshadowing. I mean, a few chapters back when Francois sent out the message, we split into two teams. We all just kind of viewed that as, oh, okay, you know what, Francois sent the message to Senku to warn him they were captured by Stanley and his team. But no, it was so much more than that. It was also a message to Joel to tell him the secret to the diamonds, the cleavage planes that they have. And nobody noticed because nobody realized that Joel had a radio receiver. I mean, so much focus was put on the fact that one of the first things he did upon waking up in the new world was building himself a watch. There's a reason for that. It's because it's a radio receiver, because he always wants to be aware of what's going on around him. Oh, I love Joel. I freaking love Joel. I mean, seriously. He pours himself a glass of Medusa. That's freaking cool. That is freaking cool. He literally has the most powerful weapon ever made by man in his hand, in a glass of wine. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. But even as arrogant as he is, even as he's ranting about how this is only possible because of his prodigious skills, he still takes the time to compliment Kaseki, to still refer to him as a master craftsman, as an artisan, and say, this is only possible because of you, Kaseki, because of the work you did. And oh, that just meant so much to him. I mean, we get the shot afterwards of him realizing he didn't fail. Everyone's not going to die because he wasn't up to the task. His life's work had meaning, had purpose, and was actually the reason why they were able to, or probably going to be able to save everyone. And he just looks, oh god, he looks so old and so tired in this shot. I mean, oh god, Kaseki, he looks 100 right here. And I mean, let's not forget though, Kaseki is in fact rather old. He has far outlived life expectancy of someone in this age, an age without modern medicine. So it would not be too surprising if he died at any point in the series. And it really does feel like Joel's line about how he still wants to have a toast with a master craftsman is almost foreshadowing that, almost saying, you know, he's never going to get that toast. They're never going to get a chance to meet. And when Kaseki passes on, it's going to be Joel who has to take up the role, you know, essentially become the next craftsman for the team. I mean, they definitely have different skill sets, but when you combine what Brody can do as an engineer with what Joel can do as a watchmaker, they basically add up to Kaseki's skills, and that's very, very worrying. So yeah, definitely a very big death flag for Kaseki right now. But speaking of Brody, he then shows up, breaks their radio, steals Medusa, and sticks it in the biggest vault I have ever seen. Seriously, this thing is a monstrosity of 4 inches of reinforced steel, 2 different key locks, and 2 different ways of tuning it to get the combination right. Why exactly do you have a vault this secure? What exactly can you have sitting around the base that is so deadly that you need to lock it up in a vault this secure when everyone is walking around with a semi-automatic machine gun? Seriously, what do you store in here? I just really want to know, is Brody just, you know, such an insane engineer that he decided to make a vault this secure? Because yeah, there is no way you can break into this without, you know, knowing the keys and the combination, so very, very curious about that. I mean, maybe Joel can open it because, you know, with his watchmaking skills, he can be, you know, he can pick the lock more or less. He can, you know, listen to the clicks of it and find out the right combination, but still, that is not going to be an easy vault to break into. Anyway, then Jen shows up. Yay, he managed not to get shot, though he certainly came close when he waved the white flag surrender. Only for Stanley to, you know, shoot it down, which, oh boy, that's bad. That's very, very bad. He's basically saying, you know, yeah, we're not taking any hostages. We're not taking any of you alive. We're going to murder every last person inside this base. So yeah, it was definitely a good idea for Senku to send off Luna and Chelsea far, far away from here. Really is showing that Stanley might not be as honorable as he seemed when he agreed not to murder Suka and just take her hostage, which, interesting. Though thankfully Jen is able to read the situation and realize the only reason why Stanley would be this desperate is if he's lost the advantage, the hostage advantage, meaning that he no longer has the radio and he has to come full force to take out Senku. And just to put the cherry on the top, as we see Jen crying, only on the side where he doesn't have his crack scar, which just looks so amazing, he says, besides, dear Kohaku, Tsukasa, and Hyoga are hardly the types to lie down and die, having accomplished nothing. And I just freaking love this line. And it gives Senku everything he needs to know to figure out a way to beat Stanley. So he uses the radio and he gives one last message to the American Kingdom of Science. And we don't see what he says, but oh boy, gets his soldiers very, very excited. And this next page is just so terrifying. I mean, seriously, these soldiers are terrified. These armed, trained soldiers are terrified because Senku's people are coming at them with nothing but their fists, and yet they do not show a single ounce of fear. They are more than willing to lay down their lives here because they have faith in Senku, and they have faith in the kingdom of science, and just seeing an enemy that has that little value for their own lives, it terrifies them. It utterly, utterly terrifies them. Also, Mose is on their side, so yeah, they should definitely be terrified. And I was actually rather surprised by that. I really thought Mose was still on the ship with Stanley's team. He was taken, hostage essentially after he was injured, but I guess not. And he seems, back in a fighting condition, even though Stanley royally kicked his butt. And so the question remains, though, what did Senku tell his team? What were the orders that he gave to them? And my best guess, the best guess from what I've seen online right now, is that he told them to retrieve Medusa and unleash the full power of it. Essentially petrify all of Corn City, all of North America, and all of South America. Petrify him, petrify Stanley, petrify Hyoga, Tsukasa, Kohaku, petrify all of them. And I do see two different ways of this working. I mean, if it does actually happen, it could definitely not happen. But right now it seems, like their best choice, their only choice, really. The first possibility is that Senku gave them the exact distance they should give to Medusa. So petrifies him, Kohaku, Suixa, all them, but does not petrify Luna and Chelsea. And that certainly would be interesting, but even for Senku, that feels like a level of precision that's beyond him. A level of precision that relies on too many variables for him to fully calculate it. The second possibility was, Chrome's idea. From back before they found Medusa Tower, he theorized, what if we created some sort of contraption that sprayed us with revival fluid, like every 5 minutes? That way, even if we're petrified, we can come right back to life. And, that'd make a lot of sense right here and now. I mean, that was, I'm going to say, weeks ago, so I feel like Chrome would have had time to create something like that by now, or, they might end up, making it here now. That's what they're trying to do before, Stanley's team shows up, before Medusa is activated and petrifies all of them. I'm honestly not sure. I'm really, really not sure. And so we really just come down to the question, who is going to survive this, and who's going to be so badly injured that even Medusa can't fix them? I mean, I've been saying for the last 2 videos, I thought Hyogo was beyond repair. He's dead, he's brain dead, there's no bringing him back, but then I watched the latest episode of the anime, and Senku straight up said the revival fluid can even revive those who are brain dead, which, interesting, definitely interesting. I mean, let's not forget there are 2 types of statues. The first type is the one who, manages to stay awake, manages not to give in to the darkness, and keep their conscience going for 3,000 freaking years. It makes a certain amount of sense why they can still be revived, but the second type, the ones who give in to the darkness, the ones who lose focus, they're essentially brain dead. They're utterly and completely brain dead, and yet the revival fluid still puts them back together just as well as, the non-brain dead type. So even if Hyoga has lost oxygen to his brain for a good couple hours, it is still theoretically possible for him to be revived by being petrified. And this really does raise an interesting question. 3,000 years ago, when the petrification first happened, were there people who, just recently deceased in like the last couple hours before it happened, who were petrified and can now be revived and return to life in the future? Because that would be very, very interesting experience for them. I'm very, very curious about that. Alright, rest of the chapter. Stanley shot down the white flag. I know I mentioned that earlier, but still, that is evil. That is so, so evil. That violates every rule of military combat I know of, and I know very few rules of military combats. I mean, I do get why I did it. He clearly realized that the science team's up to something, and if he gives them enough time, they'll finish it, and, he might end up losing. But at the same time, there could be non-combatants in this fortress, and Stanley has still decided he's going to murder every last one of them. That's, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, I'm really not sure what's going to happen with Stanley moving forward. I mean, a lot of us have been theorizing from the very beginning that at a certain point, they were going to come across a bigger threat that's going to force, Stanley and Senku to team up to take it out, but at this point, I'm not sure if that's actually even possible. I mean, I'm sure Senku would be willing to, look the other way and just allow things to move forward. I mean, he forgave Magma, who straight up attempted to murder Jen, let's not forget that. But still, this is just a step too far. And then we see the fire as all the diamonds burn up, and I actually saw a really cool theory that I really did like, saying that, maybe the fire is the last step they need, like it'll somehow perfect the diamonds, it'll give them the necessary cleavage plane they need, and that was, simulated by them falling to Earth. That caused them to become the perfect diamonds that were needed for Medusa. That does not seem to be the case, but I still really did like that theory. I thought it was so cool. Anyway, we also see Senku, who just looks so utterly defeated and broken here. Oh my god. I have never seen Senku look Just this tired, this old, this defeated. Even after he was freaking shot, he looked more alive than he does now. Oh my freaking god. And so we come to the final confrontation. All of Senku's soldiers in America are going to fight all of Stanley's soldiers in America, and we're going to see who wins. I mean, this does not feel like it should be a close fight, given that Stanley's soldiers have guns, but Senku's soldiers have the element of surprise. I mean, like I said, these soldiers look very, very surprised that Senku's people are attacking them with their bare hands. Also, let's not forget Mose is a freaking monster. Like, seriously, a living, breathing monster. At the level of Hyoga, essentially. So, yeah, he can definitely kick a couple butts. I mean, I don't expect them to go, without injuries, without sacrifices, without losses here. I can definitely see some of the people getting shot, taken down, seemingly killed, only to be revived when they eventually find their way back to Medusa, somehow manage to crack open that giant vault. A lot of questions about that. And essentially, win the day. Essentially manage to undo all the damage that's been done. Oh, that'll be fun to see. That'll be very, very fun to see. Though there is a question if the Medusa in America actually has enough power to reach South America. I mean, they aren't that far apart, but at the same time, there were hundreds upon thousands of Medusas that were used to petrify the entire planet, so I'm rather curious about that. I mean, it seems like overkill if one could have done it, if one could have just covered the entire Earth, so very, very curious about that. I know I am seeing some people online who are laughing, saying, oh, next chapter, next week's going to be the last chapter ever. They're going to finish off the series with this big final confrontation with everyone dying and Senku losing, and oh no, probably not, but I also have to keep an eye on that. Please link the all down below. Senku's team versus Stanley's team in America. Who is going to win here? Who's going to fall? I mean, I could definitely see Magma getting shots. Actually, I do kind of have this crazy ship theory, which I think could end up coming to fruition next chapter. Magma and Nikki. She is literally the only woman who can kick his butt and keep him in line, so therefore she is literally the only woman for him. I mean, next chapter, what if Magma, takes a bullet for her? He stands in front of her to shield her from being shot at. That could really make her, develop feelings for him, start to fall in love with him, and, we could definitely see that ship come to fruition moving forward. I think it'd be a great scene between the two of them. I would freaking love that. Alright, yeah, just let me know all this down below. What do you think's gonna happen next chapter? Who's gonna live? Who's gonna die? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? I'm honestly not sure right now. It's gone completely and utterly insane. I cannot freaking wait for it. But let me know all this down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, next video. Until then, peace!